Cholas between the 9th and 12th centuries, the Cholas took Dravidian art to its peak. So, Dravidian architecture reached its classical stage. The classicism of Chola architecture is exhibited by the three most famous specimens, which are together known as the Great Living Chola Temples. This is recognized by the UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. How many temples in this group? 3. The earliest one to be constructed was the Brihadeshwara temple by the great Chola Emperor Rajaraja I. The second, also known as the Brihadeshwara temple, but most famous as its alternative name, the Gangaikonda Cholapuram temple, constructed by the son of Rajaraja Chola, Rajendra Chola, or Rajendra I. And the third, which is smaller in size, but no less significant in its monumental effect, the Airavatesvara temple, commissioned by Rajaraja II. Where are they all located? All located close by near the Chola capital. What was the Chola capital? Tanjore, right? Or Thanjavur. So, Brihadeshwara temple is located at Tanjore. Gangaikondacholapuram temple is located in Gangaikondacholapuram. This was the new capital constructed by Rajendra I. Presently, it is one of the suburbs of Tanjore, or near the outskirts of Tanjore, that is Darasuram. And Airavatesvara temple is once again located at Tanjore only. Okay? What are the important characteristics of Chola temples? These are also considered to be the typical characteristics of all Dravidian temples, since Chola art represents the classical form of Dravidian art. First of all, there used to be an enclosure wall, a high perimeter wall around the temple. Secondly, the Garbhagriha was surmounted not by a shikhar but a hollow towering pyramidal roof known as a Viman. This was a right. So it had a hollow towering pyramidal roof. having multiple stories. Always the number of stories is going to be even or odd? Odd numbers stories. Okay? So, seen from the front, it would look somewhat like this. On top of the Shikhar, on top of the Viman would be a Shikhar. What would this be? Shikhar would be the octagonal cupola made of solid rock. Okay? So a structure somewhat like this octagonal cupola. Earlier, it was believed that it was monolithic, but recent research suggests that it probably was not monolithic. Last year, there was an issue of the Yojana where Dravidian architecture was discussed, and over there, this research was published. Okay? So, according to the recent research, it was not monolithic. Then, in front of the Garbhagriha was a narrow and closed antaral. Narrow and closed antaral. Okay? This antaral connected it to the Garbhagriha to the Mandapa. Okay? Now the Mandapa was a large pillared closed structure. Right? So it was not open on all sides, rather it was closed with the windows present in order to let in air and light. Okay? So since the antaral is closed, would there be a possibility of performing pradakshina around the main shrine? No. So Dravidian temples are characterized by the absence of a pradakshina path. Right? Further, inside the antaral, as the devotee approaches the main shrine, what is he going to find guarding the entrance of the Garbhagriha? Gatekeepers, armed gatekeepers known as Dwarpals. Okay? So, statues of armed gatekeepers were present at the entrance of the Garbhagriha. Statues of armed gatekeepers present at the entrance of the Garbhagriha. These were known as Dwarpals. Okay? And what kind of images do we find on the exterior of the gateway of Nagar temples? Generally, river goddesses. Okay? Ganga and Yamuna. Okay? So, in the Nagar section, you can mention the entrance of gateways, or sorry, entrance of the Garbhagrihas is adorned with the statues of the river goddesses, namely Ganga and Yamuna. ऑलराइट, नगर टेम्पल में, लेकिन यहाँ पे द्वारपाल्स. नेक्स्ट, an important characteristic of Dravidian temples is the presence of a large water tank within the temple premises, generally constructed to the left hand side, okay, of these temples. It was known as Prakaram. Okay. Next, the entrance gateway is an independent structure, in its own right, known as the Gopuram. This is the Gopuram over here. Okay? Entrance gateway is known as the Gopuram. Like the Garbhagriha, it also has a hollow towering pyramidal roof. Towering pyramidal roof. What do we find on top of the Viman above the Garbhagriha? A shikhar, octagonal cupola. And what do we find over here on top of the Gopuram? No, we find a Vallabhi type covering. Okay? So the top is usually decorated with a Vallabhi type structure. Then along the perimeter, we find a long covered hallway, right? Or a cloistered hallway. And over here, what do we find? We find several cloisters or rooms or chambers used for various purposes, for preparing food, for storing grains, for housing the labor that is working over here, for housing the devdasis that are working, living place for priests, place where instruction or education could be given. Then these temples were also having residential schools or place for housing these students who were studying in these temple premises, right? So these cloistered hallways used to have several chambers who used to house a large variety of individuals. So write down. Along the enclosure wall was a covered hallway with rooms for priests, workers, devdasis, students, storehouses, kitchens, etc. Okay? Then to which god were these temples dedicated? Lord Shiva. Who is the mythological vehicle of Lord Shiva? Nandi, the bull. So a Nandi statue is going to be present always, right? Where? Generally just outside the temple gateway, right? Write down. Such temples are also characterized, such temples are also characterized by the presence of a monolithic statue of the Nandi bull just outside the main gateway, just outside the main gateway. And who used to be the chief patron of these temples? The king, right? So these were royal monuments. So always at the entrance of the temple, you will find a flag post where the royal flag used to be unfurled. Write down. Also at the entrance, a flagpole for flying the royal colors, was present. For flying the royal colors was present. Right? Next point likho. Adjoining the temples used to be schools known as Ghatikas. Full stop. Education was free. And while it was free, was it also accessible to everyone? No, it was regulated on the basis of caste and gender. Okay? Free, but highly exclusive. Education was free, but highly exclusive. Okay? So these are the important characteristics of Chola style temples. हाँ, एक और चीज आप लिख सकते हो. The temple walls Gopurams Vimanas, pillars, etc. Were they bare or carved? They were carved. Were carved. With what kind of sculptures? Narrative sculptures, right? Carved with narrative sculptures. What were the stories that they were narrating? The Puranic legends as well as the folk tales, right? Narrative sculptures based on the Purans and local legends. Were these sculptures colored or uncolored? Multicolored, right? In very bright colors. Write down. These sculptures were painted in bright colors. Were painted in bright colors. So these are the important elements of Chola style temples.